Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy. Finally getting around to my third eye or brow chakra reading. So with these readings, again, I'm doing what I have with all of the other chakras. I'm using 4 decks. I've got 3 questions. I'm using 4 decks. So the 3 questions for the chakra are the condition of the chakra, what will strengthen the chakra, and how will I know when the chakra is healthy? And so I start with the Fractal Tarot. I'm going to be using the Fractal Tarot, the Lakota Sweat Lodge Cards, the Wildwood Tarot, and the Chrysalis Tarot. So I'm going to start with the Fractal, and then I will go through them as in the order that I just mentioned. So let's jump right in. Oh, that's weird. All right. That's interesting too. Just for the colors. Okay, so I wanted to use the Fractal Tarot. I'm going to move my webcam a little bit here. Sorry about that. Because of the colors involved, and so this is even the 3 of Cups here, and this is what will strengthen the chakra, and it's got pink and green, which is both our heart chakra colors, and it's what I chose actually for the 3 of Cups. I don't think I was even thinking about the colors when I chose it for the 3 of Cups, but although it makes perfect sense. But this, for my brow chakra, I mean, it does look a little bit like radar. So if I go with just the way it looks, maybe, but it's very gray. You know, the color for the brow chakra, it's actually kind of green, would normally be like an indigo blue. And there is a little bit of that in there. I'm not sure that you can see that. There is a little bit of blue and purple. But it's mainly kind of a pale gray-green. And there's all this webby stuff going on in there. All this, so it seems a little bit unclear. Although you've got that strong radiating thing there in the background. There's all this webby stuff. Maybe that's why... The other day I walked out, and of course I've had webs in general. I've been getting caught in webs around my yard, and the other week, I can't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago now, but I went out my back door, and in the upper part of it, my cat is making ridiculous scratching noises in his cat box. So I went out the back door. The entire upper half of the doorway was covered in a large web. And in the middle of it was an orb weaver spider. And that was so, like, literally in my face that I asked myself, what is this trying to communicate? What is this trying to communicate? Maybe this is what it was trying to communicate. That somehow I have cobwebs in my third eye, or I have cobwebs in my my brow chakra. Or I would call it maybe, it's almost like some kind of interference, or electrical webby sort of an interference. And this is the card that I actually chose because you've got that strong line there as the 9 of Wands, you know, standing guard. So just a very complex and interesting card to get for my brow chakra. I would have preferred to have something very beautiful and clear and sort of sparkly, but but no, I got something complicated. I mean, I like that, again, that there is that radiating thing going on in the background, and even the quote-unquote wand here is kind of radiating up and down. And so I'm not going to say it's necessarily bad, but it's complicated. This is much less complicated. It says, what will strengthen the chakra? And it is very clearly connecting with the heart chakra. Connecting with heart chakra energy, which is interesting because I do the love readings. But, you know, this is the Three of Cups. This is the card I chose for the Three of Cups in this deck. And so it could have to do with maybe using my intuition or just mental faculties for more recreational or celebratory sorts of activities. I'll have to think about that. I mean, there's the aspect of connection when you're getting together with friends. I actually do have a friend who, and co-worker, she is both, who comes to my weekend readings at the coffee shop, but this, I think, is speaking to more than that. So, how will I know when the chakra is healthy? And one of the things that really fascinated me about this is because the color, this kind of, this is more of a pinkish violet, but it is a violet kind of a color. And so it's more crown chakra. And I actually chose this card as the Four of Swords. So there's a matter of restfulness to it. Yeah, I'd have to look at that for quite a while to really kind of get, what is it reminding me of? What kind of plant? I don't know if it's aloe I'm thinking of or century plant. It's making me think of something like that. Hope it doesn't mean that it's 100 years before it'll be healthy. Let's see. I'm not sure, to be honest, what to think of the sparkly, you know, it seems to be very directional. You know, this thing that kind of seems almost like a bow and arrow. With this electrical energy going. And the way that, you know, the direction here is outward like that, which to me is kind of like going into the unknown. So maybe my intuition will be pointed even deeper into the unknown somehow. I think I'm getting something here too, where when I think of the traditional Four of Swords with the knight or warrior, in any case, lying flat in a meditative state, it could be speaking, you know, when will I know when the chakra is healthy? Is maybe when I when I do shamanic journeying. Maybe that will be more direct. And that is truly what I'm thinking. So it's not about card reading, it's about something, or well, it is intuitive, but I'll know that it's healthy when those journeys are maybe easier and clearer to go into. Which is interesting. That, to me, that means that I need to sort of practice them more, just for the health of my third eye. All right, So now we're going to go on to, and they're bigger cards, that's why I'm separating these. We're going to go on to the Lakota Sweat Lodge cards. And these are cards that I don't read intuitively particularly. So I will be consulting the guidebook for these. So back to the first question, which is the condition of the chakra. Oh, it's a pretty card. All my relations. All right. All my relations. Plant, insect. They don't have all of the relations here, but it's, you know, you get the idea. All of my relations. And what's the next one? So what will strengthen the chakra? Spirit of man. And I've gotten Spirit of man for another chakra reading, I'm sure. Yeah. And as well as the Bison Nation. Okay, and then when will I know when the chakra is healthy? Water. The element of water. So maybe it will flow. Do we see? I don't see water there. Okay. I really like these cards. I like the Lakota Sweat Lodge cards. So I think it was Mary Bow who sent me on these. Her review of them. So thank you, Mary. So let's see here. All my relations. And within this system, it kind of has its own system. I think these two cards, all of my relations and water, are in the Sweat Lodge, in the actual Sweat Lodge section, which is about cleansing, worship. Yes, that is. And then Spirit of Man is up with the 16 Great Mysteries. My cat is acting like a wild thing. He's acting like a wild thing. He's frustrated that I'm not playing with him. Sitting here doing boring stuff, boring people stuff. All right. So, it's always a bit of a challenge with the Lakota Sweat Lodge cards to know what to read. But I will read the little message that's at the very front. Bring to your mind and actions that which is known in your heart. And this is the condition of my chakra. Bring to your lips that which sings within. Bring to your hands that which touches within. Bring to your feet that which moves within. Bring to your eyes the vision from within. Allow the inner world life in the manifest. So that's interesting. This is my message to you. And I do see this. Well, I see this in both ways, both in my card reading and my attempts, at any rate, at journeying and theta healing in terms of my own physical well-being. So there's some accuracy there in terms of what I'm attempting to do with my brow chakra, my intuition, my understanding, all of those things. How to strengthen it. Spirit of Man. And I think he was even strengthening another chakra as well. I think he was in the middle. Oh, I didn't really finish. I didn't really finish with all my relations. I was totally satisfied with what it was saying. I don't know that it's adding anything. Showing respect for all forms of life, honoring our individuality as well as our unity. We are all created from the same source, so it's kind of what you would expect. Yeah. Again, I think it's speaking a lot to the shamanic journeying and the connection there with spirit guides. Alright, so back to Spirit of Man. I speak to you from inside yourself. I am yourself. And this is called higher self here. I am that in you that knows that I am of the Creator. So this is how I will strengthen the chakra, so to be a more spiritual seeker. I am that in you that knows I am eternal. I am that in you that sees the Creator in all things. I am that in you that speaks of truth. I am your own self. I am the navigator through experience. I am you. I am your brother and your mother and each two-legged who walks this earth. So I think the emphasis here, Spirit of Man, is on spirit. It says, remember to seek guidance within and to do so with patience and trust. Your inborn support and guidance are there at all times. Your answer will come through symbols and messages best suited to your own perceptions, through dreams, a chance meeting, a quotation in a book, or by any number of paths. Some answers come immediately, some overnight, others may be received at some time in the future. Only when you've reached the level of wisdom or experience to truly understand the full range of the matter in question. Whatever the time frame or method, it is your role to trust without preconceptions the guidance that will be provided. Okay, well, I feel like I'm on the way here. Maybe not completely trusting or completely following it, but I feel like I am working toward strengthening it here. Okay, water. So this is how I will know when the chakra is healthy. Creativity. They're calling it creativity. All right. I am clarity and purity, therefore I am cleansing. I am liquid and flowing, therefore I am change. I bring forth life, therefore I am creativity. I sustain life, therefore I am nurturing. Even before your birth I supported and nurtured you. I am the blood of your mother Maka. Taking many forms, I challenge and sustain you. Ever in motion, giving and taking. From me, vast creations emerge. You know, one of the things I get from this, which I don't think, although they did say flowing, is, you know, especially going with what I was seeing here, the whole idea of shamanic journeying, is that waterways are also ways to travel. They are fluid, often swift methods of travel. So I'm getting that out of this, that that the flow will be very natural. You are comfortable in the flow of life, so you move fluidly along your path, expressing yourself freely with words, images, sounds, movement. Or just in the way you create what you want in your life. Now you are being given the opportunity to create the future. Leave the past behind and take with you only what you will nourish your future creativity. Again, I'm just getting that flow. The idea of flow is the big one coming through here for me. That I will feel the flow. I will be able to step into the flow and travel on the flow fairly effortlessly. Okay, so there's the Lakota Sweat Lodge cards. Now we're on to the Wildwood Tarot. So this is condition of the chakra and what will strengthen the chakra. And then how will I know when the chakra is healthy? So more happy times here. Okay, so let's look at the condition of the chakra. Six of Bows, abundance. So, you know, the Wildwood is being encouraging. It's saying I have an abundance, but it's interesting that the way that they have the bows set out here is kind of like this. The radiating, you know. You even have kind of this stuff around the side. You know, so you don't quite have the webby stuff, but you do have the radiating. Maybe I need to get in touch with spider as a spirit insect. I'm one of those people who is largely creeped out by spiders, I'm afraid. I try not to hold it against them that I have this irrational reaction to them, but it is what it is. So there's abundance, fruits. I could see that, you know. Okay, so I use my third eye, or my really in both respects, whether my intuition or my intellect, to gather. You know, my intellect is primarily what I use in my paid work life. I do also get paid for my readings, but they are not what puts food on my table. And you know, I give a lot of free readings away. So, you know, that's also, I use it. In other words, I use my skills in abundance. I use them in abundance. They actually don't bring me a lot of abundance, to be honest. Thus far, you know, they're not. I'm not making a lot of money in anything that I'm doing, any way that I'm using them. But I am using them in, you know, I do harvest my mind frequently and a lot. So this is interesting. So this is Seven of Vessels. Mourning, they're calling it. Mourning. So completely different from the usual Seven of Cups. But the way, you know, the picture on this card is not so much mourning as it is an offering. It looks like an offering to the skull. What will strengthen this chakra? So what do we have here for strengthening? We have Spirit of Man again, and communication. And what I'm getting here with that I don't like, because I'm just not willing to go there at this point, is again mediumship. And I don't know, it's just too freaky for me. I mean, there could also be something that I need to clear out in terms of mourning. It is time to honor what is dead and mourn for what has gone. Learn the lesson of letting go by offering thanks for cherished memories and being at peace with the past. I'm just not sure how I'm not sure what passed in regards to my brow chakra. I would need to let go of and be at peace with. I don't feel like I'm not at peace with any of it. Mourning begins the process of recovery after failure or bereavement. This process may even be unconscious. Alright, for we often do not realize what things were significant to us until they are gone. Yeah, this is a little mysterious to me, and I'm not going to continue reading. I feel like I need to maybe go into it. I don't know. I mean, maybe I need to do... when I look at the skull and I think of the past, if I think of the traditional Seven of Cups, which offers a lot of different possibilities for the future, if we invert that a little bit, and I think of kind of where my emotions have gone in the past, or reviewing the past, whether intuitive projects or intellectual. So I feel like this is more reviewing. Or looking into history somehow. That's kind of what I'm getting from the skull, is calling me into history. And not just, I kind of am getting it now, not personal history, but more like maybe the history of the tarot, or since I'm thinking, this mediumship thing, or shamanism, or theta healing, to have a greater, especially since we have Seven Cups, you have a greater sense of historical background for the use of the brow chakra, or something along those lines. So this last one, which is a very merry card, is how will I know when the chakra is healthy? It'll keep everybody warm. So it's the Eight of Bows, would be the Eight of Wands in a traditional deck, and here it's called Hearthfire. I don't know. I'm telling you, again with that, how will I strengthen it? How will I know when it's healthy? I feel like this is the gathering of spirits, the gathering of, in a sense of mediumship. If I think of people gathering around the fire, I mean, it could be, in a more mundane sense, it could be clients who are, coming together in celebration, or just getting together with other people who use their intellect or their intuition, that there's celebration, companionship. I think I've recently said in a couple of videos, I have at least one video that I have considered going back for a master's degree, but it's a real stretch. It's a real stretch, but I could see it meaning that this, hinting at that as well. And I feel that the fire there in the hearth fire is kind of, the intellect. Everybody is gathering around the light of the intellect or the intuition there. And so again, it could be people who are you know, the spirits of the deceased somehow are attracted to it. Again, it just kind of creeps me out. Or it could be that I am able to gather around with others. Or it could be that my light attracts other people. I'm not sure exactly which. Alright, and so now for the Chrysalis Tarot. So that is the condition of the chakra. What will strengthen the chakra? Well, that's interesting since it's a confining sort of a card. And how will I know when the chakra is healthy? Well, that's a good one. So this was perplexing, but we'll take a look at it. Oh, sorry, I'm yawning. It's actually quite late. Is it 10? Oh, it's 11:07. I wanted to do this. I've been wanting to do this reading for a couple of days. And the opportunity hasn't been there. And this evening, I actually, after I put the animals away and I took a shower, and I thought, you know what, I'm more awake right now than I have been all day. And so I decided to go ahead and sit down and do this. And now, of course, that I'm doing it, I'm starting to yawn, and the hour is catching up with me. Alright, so, condition of the chakra. We have what I call this the Shazam card. Pulling the rabbit out of the hat. But, you know, it's a minor sort of a trick, I have to say. It's a minor sort of a trick. It's not... Although you might think if you say that that's the creation of a bird, then of course it's not minor, but maybe it's just a releasing, you know, and it's the whole, you know, demonstration. There's showmanship here and a demonstration of ability. And of course I am doing that. I do that here on my channel with my readings. And it's just, in many cases, just a love of doing it. So this channel gives me an excuse to pull out the cards and use them. And then... So I think that makes sense in a literal, practical sort of way. And this is what will strengthen the chakra. Now this would be equivalent to, I think, the 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's the 10. The 10 would be like the 10 of Swords. I wonder what the 8 of Scrolls is. But it is scrolls. It's scrolls, and it's not swords. And the idea, obviously, is that it is trapped. This tiger is trapped. The tiger, of course, being a very powerful animal. It looks so sad and forlorn right there. And of course there's, you know, it could easily jump through those or over those, push through them. What will strengthen the chakra? I'm going to, and I don't usually do that with this deck. I'm going to get the book. I'm going to grab the book. So we have 2 scrolls cards here, which is appropriate because they're about messages, right? Yep, this is the 10 of Scrolls. Well, here it says the 10 of Scrolls is prescriptive. Prescriptive. The tiger invites you to reclaim the power that defines your role as a spirit guide. Tiger medicine applies awe-inspiring power and healing balm to the pain and fear affecting your energy signature. Okay, so when I'm talking about things like this and I'm going, oh, I don't know if I want to go there, I don't know if I want to go there, the tiger is saying, you must, you must. And that there is something that needs to be healed. It's also saying there's something that needs to be healed. Says various things have a lasting adverse effect on an energy signature. These include wounds that never fully heal, trauma, disabling beliefs, low self-esteem, blah, blah, blah. And so there is, what I'm perceiving here as entrapment is true. So he's thinking there's some energy signature, or maybe it's messages. To me, that's what it would be, is messages. So I need to clear myself from entrapping myself in messages. Now, alright, so I could see this being my tendency to create lots of projects. And believe me, I've been doing that. I'm doing it again. I have this great idea for these things called Love 360 that would be like 36 questions, and I would do, so I do maybe overly occupy this space. Overly occupy my head space, whether intuitive or intellectual. Okay, so this is, though it's the Eight of Scrolls, again, I really need to read this more intuitively, but to me, she's somebody who is receiving messages, and she's receiving messages from the ether. So to me, this is similar kind of to, it could be this, it could be all these guys are sending their messages through the fire of the thing, and she's receiving all these messages. But this reminds me of this. Like I said, that things will just flow. She's not, this is relatively effortless for her, that she's receiving all of these messages. And I don't feel like using my intellect right now is particularly difficult, except in my work, my paid everyday work situation where I have memory issues. And I also will sometimes have brain fog. These are all related to the Lyme disease. In my intuitive work here, like card reading and that sort of thing, it's less actually of an issue because I'm responding to something in the moment. I'm not really trying to recall stuff. So, yeah, I guess I'm still thinking kind of about this and this. But, so things will flow. Messages will come. And I have to say, I will say this is a feeling like messages are coming whether I'm got the cards or not, although she has her crystal ball there. Whereas now, sometimes messages come to me in the form, like I was reading from something else, of animals, pretty much. Animals coming to me. Not coming to me, but in my environment, in a pointed sort of way, like that spider I talked about at the beginning. That was impossible to miss. That was, like I said, it couldn't be more literally in my face. But, you know, and I use the cards, but other than that, I don't randomly experience messages, and I think some people do. I don't attempt to, quote-unquote, channel messages or anything like that. And so some of this is interesting to me in that I end up questioning whether I want to be more open, because in some ways, because of, you know, this, what is kind of anything that has to do with mediumship is kind of even with the theta healing, I had an experience that put me off a little bit. To me, was just getting a little bit too weird. And like, how would you say, kind of reaching a point of I would say this, reaching a point of agency from the other side. And in theta healing, you go up through the upper chakras, and then you are requesting help. But I expect the help to be kind of diffuse, or not to see things, or to have beings come out of the ether and start to administer to me, and it's just too much. It was, so I kind of had that happen, and I pulled back, you know. So sometimes, you know, this really, as I go into intuitive, spiritual kinds of stuff, I'm really pushing the boundaries of my beliefs and my comfort zone. And then I pull back, and I got some surrender cards this past weekend that were telling me pretty much I need to not be stubborn, and I think that it was referring directly to that. First I had surrender your stubbornness, which really amused my coworker, because she said, "Oh my God, if you surrender that, you surrender your entire personality." So, which was, you know, it was really amusing to her that I got that, and it was amusing to me that she was that in touch with my stubbornness. But I know that she sees it in the way that I push students out of my class and into her class. I'm very stubborn about making the students move. You know, when they're ready to go up, they need to go up a level. So, and that's something we have to take in hand in our program. It's not, there's no very little ceremony that, you know, says, okay, now everybody's going to the next level. No, it's on a case-by-case basis. So I got that. I got surrender stubbornness. It's like, well, you know, I really value my stubbornness. It's like in the classroom environment, it's actually very useful. And so I pulled another, because that's our habit when we do this, is that we often pull two cards. So I pulled another, and it was surrender to prayer. And so when those two things came up, and I am not a particularly religious person, and I don't think it's really calling me to be a religious person. I think it was telling me to stop being stubborn about when I reach something that's uncomfortable and is pushing the boundaries of my beliefs, and then kind of pulling back and going, oh my God, that's too weird, I can't deal with it, instead of opening up. It's like I do put up a barrier and say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but not today. It's too weird for me. So maybe it's saying I need to take away, to me this is like all of my structure of belief. This almost becomes like a tower card. This whole structure of belief. And maybe that's what this is mourning too, this whole structure of belief. We're going to let it go. And let all the dudes around the fire come out and provide messages and say, hey, Jennifer, hey, we've been waiting for you. We've been knocking on your mental door there. We got things to say. We got messages for you out of the blue coming at you day and night. I'm not afraid of not having boundaries, because I think I am very good at boundaries. That's that stubbornness. I think that's part of what it was getting at. Being very stubborn with my boundaries. I will go this far, I will go no further. I will go up, I will request help, but when you give me light beings, that's the end of it. I can't take your light beings, they're too weird. It's like, yes, I want to be healed, but don't have any weird thing touch me, okay? So anyway, so interesting messages, and in a sense, kind of reprimand here. So there's the question. Do I want to strengthen my brow chakra, or don't I want to strengthen my brow chakra? That is the question. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.